Welcome back, Soulful Society, to Soulful of Wellness,
the multi-generational podcast brought to you by two functional imperfectionists
and certified coaches
who deliver tips to help you live your most authentic, balanced, and anxiety-free life.
As we're about to enter the post-holiday slump that comes every year when our vacations end, the party ends, the PTO is up, the days are cold, daylight is short, and so many of us are just waiting for some springtime to eventually arrive. In light of all of that, this week we're talking about winter doldrums and sharing some ideas on how you can prevent experiencing cold weather malaise. Thank you for being with us for another week of wellness goodness. Don't you love it? So delicious. And if you're here for the first time, welcome. We know you have plenty of podcasts to choose from, and we are so happy that you've chosen us.
We'd love to have you back every week, so if you're enjoying this content, please consider hitting that follow button so that you get Soulful of Wellness delivered directly to your listening platform every Thursday. You'll never miss a new week of content.
We are loving your DMs on Instagram and always appreciate your feedback. So we'd be most grateful if you could tap that 5th star and type a few words, leaving us a review saying what you think about the podcast and any ideas you may have for an episode.
If you enjoy this week's episode and you know someone, a coworker, a friend, a sibling, somebody who kind of gets down in winter and might appreciate hearing a little bit about how they can prevent that from happening this winter season, feel free to share this episode with them.
From looking at our stats, we know that the biggest way we've grown is through you sharing this podcast with your friends and family. So thank you and keep it going. So today, essentially we're talking about seasonal affective disorder, but so much more than that, more than what it is. And because most of us feel it, especially here on the East Coast. Of course, we're going to get into some tools and tips on how to create your own sense of empowerment and self-efficacy so that you can actually cultivate happiness during the winter doldrum time.
I love your little visual that you told me yesterday when we were thinking, should we do an episode on this? Is it worth it? So we were talking about how often it can feel like life is on hold. I know for me personally, no secret to regular listeners out there, winter's not my thing. And sometimes I feel like I'm just doing the days, living in this holding pattern, not really progressing. And what I'm waiting for is spring ahead. Like when we change the clocks, that's really symbolic to me. Like, now I can reemerge in the springtime. But that's a lot of my life I'm just holding for. So you said the light at the end of the tunnel. We all know it's there. We know spring's coming. We trust, we believe. Every year it happens. We know it'll happen this year too. But that light is too far away. And because it's so far away, it's not bright enough to light the tunnel right now. So our big antidote is creating little lights along the way. That light at the end is changing our clocks to spring ahead. We need to light the path so we can keep living life and making progress between now and then. And that's what we're here to talk about today. How do you light those lights for yourself?
Right. Creating your own light in your tunnel cultivates a sense of self-empowerment and dissolves that sense of helplessness. Like for me personally, when we have stretches of gray day after gray day, I begin to really kind of fall victim to that because I'll notice as soon as the sun comes out, I always say, thanks, sun, for showing up to work and doing your job.
It's like
I feel infinitely better.
Yeah, it's just calling us outside. It's saying, come, see me, feel me, be with me. In a way that these gray days, today, case in point, it was completely complete cloud
Miserable.
cover the entire day. It was cold. It was a little raw. There's nothing calling me outdoors on days like this.
And I think the hardest thing is when it's multiple days in a row. It's just so disheartening. Mm-hmm. And I mean, we could go on and on. As regular listeners know, Kit and I are summer lovers. We are winter. I mean, we're haters.
Survivors.
Yeah,
we
winter
get by,
survivors.
but that's it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not thriving.
So I guess as much as we want to have the power to control weather, sadly, we cannot. We can't manifest sunny days. The sun's going to do what it wants.
And we live where we live by choice. And I do appreciate the seasons. I love spring. I love fall. You can't love them all.
So instead of falling victim to these gray days and these gray weeks and the freezing cold where activities aren't as available to us as usual, we want to create these little lights at the end of the tunnel, things to look forward to so that we can really step into our life again instead of putting it on hold. Anticipation in itself is a valuable emotion. It can allow us to gain pleasure from something in the near future before the event even occurs, right? We're building up that energy around it, that positive excitement.
Yeah, it's the brain power, like thinking about something in that positive light, like, oh, I can't wait for, I'm so excited about. Mm-hmm. And research has shown that a big part of the happiness and the joy in an event is the build up to it. A lot of it, especially if all goes to plan, is in the event itself. Like, for example, a vacation. But researchers studied this phenomena of the joy of a vacation, and they found that a significant, at least half the pleasure of vacation is the buildup and anticipation leading up to the vacation itself.
Wow.
I know. Isn't that really, I don't even know the word. What word am I looking for? Just enlightening?
That's so interesting. It also takes off a little bit of the pressure because you think about how much pressure you put on the vacation. You're either the person who is the planner who needs, you're the hyper person who needs activities, or you're the person who wants zero plans and just to kick back and relax. And it's interesting, the dynamic depending on who you plan the trip with or if you're doing a solo trip. But to say that like all of that, scratch that, doesn't even matter. It all has to do with the anticipation around it is so interesting to me. I never thought of it that way.
And even if you're the not planner type, you still get that build of anticipation because you know the date. You know the date you're going. And you're still anticipating the possibilities of new and uncharted territory. So that is equally valid joy-producing anticipation.
I always find it very useful to set an intention before a vacation. I find it to be very grounding to set myself up. Like, what kind of energy do I want to be in? What kind of experiences do I want to have? What kind of attitude do I want to have? And is there some sort of goal? Whether, even if that goal looks different every day on vacation. So I find that the intention also builds up a really sort of in control type of energy. You know, us anxiety fighters, we love control.
For the people who want control, it gives a sense of control. And for the people who want free flowing, I don't want it planned, you can have an intention around how do I want to feel. Yes. And then you're not closing off anything. You don't know what exactly it's going to look like that's going to produce that feeling, but you can still have an intention around what you want the takeaway to be or the experience to feel like as you're going through it, what you want to feel like while the vacation is happening, or once vacation is over, what do I want to return with?
Yes, and your intention you can think of as your anchor, right? anchors you at any given moment, enabling you to build resilience. Because let's be honest, when we travel, when we go on vacation, trips, things don't go always according to plan, obviously.
Always go wrong at some point.
And so we can have this, if we have this perfect vision in our mind, it's never going to live up to that. But if we have the intention, let's say you want to, I don't know, be lighthearted. Then when the plane is delayed or the food comes out wrong, you can go back to your intention and maybe try to laugh about it. Or if your intention is to conquer a fear, like for example, me snorkeling in the Caribbean, then you can start doing practices daily, like meditating or journaling or whatever you need to do to get over that fear and to accomplish that little goal.
Setting the intention can also help you when it comes to making choices. Making choices sometimes being something I really struggle with, especially when it seems like there's too many choices. And I find this happens on vacation. Even something as simple as, where are you going to eat the next meal? Well, there's tons of choices and you have limited information. It's not in your normal purview. So having the intention to guide your selection, I find can be very helpful. All right, back to lighting little lights for ourselves along the tunnel to help light the path toward spring at the end of the tunnel.
Yes, plan something. Put something on the calendar. It doesn't have to be a big event. Have a potluck with your friends, whatnot, or keep it simple. Plan a movie night. It is cold and gray and gross outside. Have a friend come over, put it on the calendar. You guys could do pajamas or sweats, whatever.
I was picturing the same thing.
Yeah, it's super cozy.
Or plan a games night with your friends. Like, we're trying to think what's not going to break the bank. You just have junk food out, or maybe you want to make it a healthy theme and everybody brings their favorite healthy snack.
Or you spend time looking up a recipe for a fun charcuterie board and you put things in bowls and you make a normal night a little bit special, and then it's something to look forward to because that week you're at Trader Joe's and you have your grocery list and you're visualizing your friends over and what are you going to serve?
Picturing all the little details occupies your brain in exactly the way we need at this winter doldrums time of year. Giving your brain something to do, honestly, almost like busy work, but it's not busy work because you are going to have something at the end of this, but exactly what you're describing. Like, is it everybody showing up in their pajamas? That costs nothing, but just planning the fun of that, like having a full vision for what this movie night or this games night is going to look like.
I know we were also talking about how current times are a result of the pandemic and really what it's done and what we're seeing it do to society and our social lives and ourselves, which is a whole nother episode, I imagine. But, for the sake of winter doldrums, it really reminds us to be intentional and to seek our friends and to seek our support systems and social gatherings, because for the longest time they were restricted. And now they're a little funky, right? It doesn't look like normal life doesn't exist anymore. And I know you and I were talking about this, how maybe people have held that annual gathering, that annual holiday party, and their guest list is getting more finite.
Got completely overhauled because I feel like once you're on the guest list, you were kind of forever on the guest list, and then you would add new people each year, like, oh, we met these people, but nobody really ever got kicked off the guest list that I know of. And I feel like this year, as people are really having the larger gatherings again for the first time, they really went back and were like, whoa, let's see, who have we not talked to since the last time we had this? Maybe they don't need to be on the guest list anymore. That whole complete overhaul, which is all about awareness and analyzing where we are. Where are our relationships? Who is important to me? Who was important to me, but right now isn't? Maybe will be again someday, maybe not. But just having that chance to really check on the state of the union of all my relationships.
Right. Your calendar may not be as full anymore is also another large point. Like, there may not be that company holiday party anymore, that annual holiday party, or just birthday or whatever. So encouraging you to put yourself in the driver's seat and empower yourself to do something fun and plan something yourself. Because it can get really lonely and really isolating out here in the winter when it's gray for days and it's cold and we don't want to leave the house.
Right. So speaking of leaving the house, we have a few other little tips or reminders, maybe. I don't even know that you can call these tips. They're just sort of reminders to think about. We'll go quickly through them. Even though it might not feel inviting, get outside when you can. Go outside and get that natural daylight. Even if you have the sad lamp, get the natural daylight as much as you reasonably can, especially at midday, especially on brighter days.
Can someone DM us if they actually use their sad lamp?
As prescribed regularly.
I've never got myself to use it.
So I have a vision of pretend you're après ski. You know, picture yourself in the Adirondack chair with the big wool blanket wrapped around you, sitting at the foot of the ski slope. Is there a way you can replicate that at home? Go outside, wrap in the big wool blanket, or wear your heated jacket or your heated vest, or bring out a heating pad that you sit on and read for a little bit, or check your email out there. Some way that hopefully you're not freezing your little fingers off, but some way that you can work in a little bit of that natural daylight when it's available.
Right. Bundle up.
Remember, even in these cold, dark days, it's still important to get your movement in. Your body still wants that movement.
Whatever that looks like.
Whatever that looks like.
Jinx. Whatever that looks like to you is all that matters for however amount of time you want. But I will say there is something really, really beneficial to at least doing one difficult workout per week. Challenge yourself, build that resilience and that inner strength while you're building that outer strength at the same time, because then you know for a fact you're getting those endorphins, which you could really use this time of year.
Another little reminder to keep an eye on what you're eating. Try to remember those fruits and vegetables. Try to eat healthy. I know you're not going to the farmer's market right now, but do what you can to be mindful and just pay attention that you're getting variety, even in your winter diet.
Yeah, you can even have a lot of fun with this, like make winter stews and add some herbs in it, and just a rainbow of plate is what my nutritionists have told me. So just throw in those different colored vegetables and make a stew. Have some fun with it. This is something that I'm going to be working on as well. I just had a nutritionist appointment today, and we really talked about diversifying what's on my plate and adding different type of carbohydrates and different type of fruits and vegetables. One time they even assigned me vegetable bingo. So that's just a fun, creative way that you can start to add different variety into your diet, because that can really, really impact your mental health. If you're curious about hearing about this topic further, we have a few episodes with our favorite nutritional therapy practitioner, Carla Keith, on eating for anxiety and all things nutrition.
One last little suggestion. Winter is actually a great time to start a new hobby. Keeping your mind active with a new interest seems to ward off the symptoms of SAD. And this could be anything. This could be learning to play bridge or another card game, learning to knit, joining a gym, keeping a journal, start a blog. Does anybody start blogs anymore these days? Well, you be the one. Start a blog. The important thing is that you have something to look forward to and something to occupy your mind that you can concentrate on.
And to our imperfectionists, this is just for fun. Okay, no one needs to see this, whether it's a painting, a drawing, a sport. No one needs to watch you or see it. It's just for you to have
It's
fun.
about the process, not the product.
Right. I had an astrologist tell me that creativity is not about the result. It is about the process. So that is my creative mantra for the time being, for however long I'd like. And so I invite you to use it.
And if that isn't permission to just dive on in and try something and not worry about being terrible or who cares. It's about trying something new. What else are you going to do? More time on your sofa in your pajamas watching TV? Oh, that's just me, maybe. All right, I got to think of a new hobby I'm going to take up. I'll work on that.
I think I have mine because I thought about this earlier and I think I texted you about it. And I have the stuff in my Amazon cart, but I haven't bought it. Watercolor painting. I'm curious about it. There's some online courses out there, and there's even traceable like booklets so you could trace it and then color it in. I think that could be fun. And it's easy because it's not like painting on a canvas where most of the time I don't know what to do with it once I'm done. You can actually get, a special notebook just for your art and just have fun with it.
I might even deviate slightly and go back to a hobby because I knit. I haven't knit something in at least a year. I've been, just doing other things, but I already have all the things. You were talking about your Amazon cart. I have all the things. Maybe I just start a new project, not a whole new hobby, just a new project. Knit something with the yarn I already have.
What about something for our dogs?
I could just see that would last all of like a minute. Be like, thanks, it's awesome. Watch me shred it.
Yeah, yum, yarn.
On that playful visual we're giving you here, some things to think about. Being prepared, any plan is better than no plan at all. Start thinking about how you're going to occupy those January, February, even March months. Thank you for being with us again this week. Peace, love, and light.
Till next week, Soulful Society, we love you. Peace, love, and The Soulful of Wellness hosts are certified health and wellness coaches. This podcast is intended to inform and entertain listeners on their wellness journey. This podcast is meant to enhance, not replace, listeners' care from doctors, therapists, or other medical providers. So full of wellness.